and I will cue y'all up.
Kirsten, are you excited?
So excited.
And we are live on YouTube.
And I have to. I'm recording, correct? I have to. Should I start recording now?
Tonight on Murrow News 8, how Pullman Regional Hospital is keeping up with COVID-19.
And Pullman residents may notice something about their water. Murrow News 8 starts now.
Murrow News 8 starts right now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Caitlin Rappel.
And I'm Kirsten Rosser. Welcome back to Murrow News 8.
Pullman Regional Hospital established a COVID-19 fund in response to the pandemic. Along with this fund, a list of needed medical supplies was published. The fund will provide the hospital with needed medical equipment as well as help to offset the loss of revenue the hospital will see due to reduced surgical and outpatient procedures, which was projected a loss of $10 million. Ed and Beatrice Schweitzer testing. People who are asymptomatic will not be tested. If you are experiencing symptoms, they will test you. Tests cost $51.31 and are conducted in the Pullman Regional Hospital Coronavirus Triage and Testing Center.
The Whitman County Sheriff's Office is seeking public help to find a suspect. According to Pullman Radio, someone stole batteries and a propane tank from the Wheatland RV storage lot on the Moscow-Pullman Highway. Police are asking for anyone who has information to contact Deputy Paul Reeves.
If you're still in Pullman, you might see discolored water from your tap today. The Pullman Maintenance and Operations Department is switching on a well that gets turned off every winter and then switched on again in the spring when water demands are higher. A representative from the department says any change to the flow of water in the system can kick up non-harmful sediment that normally sits at the bottom of the pipes. We do have Murrow News 8 reporter in Pullman, Washington, Luke Hudson. Luke, how does your water look today?
Hey, Caitlin. So far it looks okay from what I've been using. I spoke to that representative and they said that the department also hasn't received any complaints about the water from any Pullman citizens so far today. So I suppose that, is a good thing. And like you said before, this is something that's very routine. They shut off this well every year and they turn it back on. But let's take a look. I'll fill up a glass and you can see if there's any change right now. So as I'm filling this up, let's just hold this up to the camera. So it looks fine, especially if you're a Vegas Golden Knights fan. The water seems to be okay, and they did say that this is something that is pretty routine. Now let's take a look at a 2019 water quality report that's published in Pullman. So as you can see in this spreadsheet, for the most part, there are no contaminant violations in Pullman water. So overall, it is pretty safe. The contaminants only come from natural erosion, and that's because Pullman water does come from an aquifer, which is basically an underground source of water. The only additive that's in the water is chlorine, and that's to kill bacteria. So the department says that if you do see any discoloration, just run your cold water for a little while, and that tends to flush it out. And they anticipate the work on that well switching back on to be done today. So yeah, seems like it's a pretty easy process. Caitlin, thanks so much. Back to you.
Thanks, Zach. The University of Idaho has named Terry Lawrence as their new interim provost. According to Pullman Radio, Terry Lawrence will be taking over for John Wienzik, who's leaving for the provost job at the University of Akron next month. Lawrence has been working as the vice provost for U of I. A search for a permanent provost will begin immediately, as the job is the second highest ranking administrative position at the University of Idaho.
Bernie Sanders ended his 2020 presidential campaign earlier today. Sanders started off strong in early February with the nomination seemingly to be his. But the last day of February, the tables turned when Biden surged forward and won South Carolina. Sanders said in a live stream that, quote, "the path toward victory is virtually impossible," end quote. This appears to leave former Vice President Joe Biden as the Democratic presumptive nominee for the 2020 election.
Looks like Pullman is experiencing some pretty sunny skies. What else can we expect today, Grace?
Hey, Kirsten. It's been a beautiful day here in Pullman, and if circumstances were different, I'd hope that every student would be out on the patio of the Coug having a burger with their friends. But unfortunately, they won't be able to. But today's high is 63 and its low is 39. It was sunny all throughout the day and will be clear through the night. As you can see, the sun is setting a little bit later at 7:28, and there's some mild winds at 8 miles per hour coming from the north. Tomorrow, it'll stay sunny with a high of 65 degrees and a low of 41, and staying clear as well, so there aren't any clouds at all. You can expect a nice early sunrise at 6:11 a.m. and a sunset at 7:30 a.m., again with some mild winds. Now, looking across the state, there's mostly higher temperatures throughout Western Washington, Central Washington, and Eastern Washington, with highs in Olympia and Seattle of 63 and 58. And it gets a little bit higher throughout Central Washington, with the Tri-Cities and Yakima, both in the 70-degree range. And over here in Spokane and Pullman, temperatures will be high in the 60s, with nice sunny skies throughout the state. Looking at this week's weather into the weekend, Thursday and Friday will both be very sunny. Saturday, it says partly sunny with a high of 54 degrees. People should expect a little bit of a rain shower at 11 a.m. on Saturday, so be prepared if you're going outside for a walk that you might want to wait until the rain passes. On Sunday, it'll get a little bit cooler with a high of 48 degrees, and then on Monday, it'll get a little bit warmer again with a high of 52. Back to you guys.
Now we have Sophia Canton with more happening in the world of sports.
Thanks, Caitlin. So Mississippi State head football coach and former Washington State head football coach Mike Leach tweeted a cartoon about the current situation our nation is facing that was captioned, "Knitting her husband a scarf," when it actually depicted the woman knitting a noose. Sometime after the tweet, Leach issued an apology for any offense the picture caused. Shortly after the tweet, MSU defensive tackle Fabian Lovett also announced he would be entering the transfer portal. It is unclear whether or not the tweet was an influencer in Lovett's decision. Another player on the MSU football team actually retweeted a response that lynching jokes are incredibly offensive anywhere, but, quote, especially in Mississippi, end quote. The MSU athletic director issued a statement that Leach will participate in listening sessions and will visit the Museum of Mississippi History and the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum once it is okay to do so. During a time where there are no sports being played, sports companies and teams are using their resources in order to help in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. New Balance is one of the companies contributing. Specifically, they are making cloth masks for nurses, doctors, and any other healthcare staff. The New England Patriots even sent their private team jet to China to collect 1.2 million of the N95 protective masks. Bauer Hockey Equipment is making face shields for healthcare workers, and many other companies, not all just sports companies, are contributing to help make needed medical supplies during the pause on normal business. Tennis player Roger Federer took to Twitter to encourage people to stay active at home with a social drill video he took of himself doing, which in turn started the hashtag Tennis at Home Challenge. Many I have today. Back to you, Kirsten.
WSU student Keenan Solvay was competing in the Wheel of Fortune Tuesday night. He walked away with second place and $8,100. Solvay is a junior at WSU and traveled to California to compete on the show against other college students.
Well, that is all from us today here at Murrow News 8.
You can watch us live on YouTube every weekday at 5:30.
News content can still be found at nwpb.org/mn8. And don't forget to follow us on social media.
Have a good night, stay home, and stay healthy.